Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Bond Academy's Roundtable, part of the Our Kids initiative. Today, I'll introduce who we have today. Just going to set a few little ground rules first. If you have a question to ask, please type it in the chat window. And if you're not sure where that is, the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a little chat icon. Click there and send me, the moderator, Paul, the question you would like to ask. At the end of getting closer to 3 o'clock, if there's no questions coming in by chat, I'll ask you then you can ask your question directly to who you would like. So having that set aside, we do have a few more people coming in, so they'll come in and join us whenever they connect. I would like to introduce our speakers today. And we're starting off with Mrs. Jane Phillips. She's the head of guidance, admissions, and camps. She has worked at Bond for over 19 years. She had 2 of her oldest grandchildren attend Bond for 5 years. And now she has 2 4-year-old twin boys in the Montessori Casa program. And she's a granddaughter in grade 2. Say hi, Jane.
Hi, glad to see you all here, and hope we can answer any questions that you have about Bond.
Our next speaker is a parent and also a teacher, Lisa Baum. She has 2 children attending Bond. One is now in grade 9 and the other is in grade 6.
Hi.
And we have Olga, and I hope I say this right, Baconi. She's a businesswoman and a mother of a student who is in grade 11. Say hi, Olga.
Good afternoon and hi all.
Okay, we were going to have another student, alumni show up, but unfortunately she had to cancel last minute. So we don't have an alumni online, but hopefully we can still have a very good discussion with people that are here. So again, just a reminder, any questions you do have that might not get asked in this part of the program, please type it into your chat window and I will add it to the list. So I'd like to start a question, and we'll start off with the parents. So I'm going to start with Olga first. Why did you choose Bond originally? And what you expected, and how did that all turn out?
Thank you, Paul, for the question. And again, hello, everyone. So in order to explain why I chose Bond, I think I need to give everybody an understanding of the child that I brought into Bond. So I have one son, one child, and like any parent, you want to give your child the best education, the best life, and everything that you can give them to be successful in life. My journey in the school system started in the public sector. And very, very quickly, I didn't get what I needed out of that school system. And then I transitioned into the private sector. I joined Bond Academy with my son. And I feel that I joined together because the school is a partner to a parent to deliver results for your child. We joined Bond Academy when George, my son's name is George, was in grade 9. So the things that I look at for a school is, do they have a strong academic background? Will they provide high quality education? And Bond delivers on that value. But also, do they create and do they develop a well-rounded person? Do they create a person that is open-minded, kind, understands diversity, really preparing the child for the real world, not just the academic world, not just the school life. And in exploring various schools, and I explored schools transitioning my son from grade 8 from his previous private school to Bond Academy. I looked at those values and how do they exhibit it. And I did ask and asked friends that knew Bond Academy and other private schools. And I very quickly identified that the school has really, it exhibits those values around, creating a construct for education with high results, but also creating a construct of creating a well-rounded George in the end. The good thing, and it's been, George right now is in grade 11, so it's the third year in the journey. And obviously this year is a much more challenging year for all of us due to COVID-19. I will say that, that I did reap the rewards of that decision. I do find that I'm a strong partner with Jane. Jane knows that I've reached out to her in support of my son's introduction to Bond, making sure that he could join in the school and blend and be able to feel supported and enabled and have friends in the end and be able to grow. So I feel I have partners in Jane. I feel I have partners with our principal, Mr. Davis. I feel I have partners with the teachers who I can reach out for support. And I do know that George, my son, has the same feeling. So what I looked for in the school is what I'm experiencing now. But it as any partnership, you as a parent also need to be, engaging and reaching out to the teachers, to the counselors, to the principal. And it does make, as a parent, feel very comfortable and comforting that the construct around Bond is one that gives you that outcome. So as a decision, it was the right decision. And I know George is foundationally creating a strong foundation, I should say, to get to his grade 12 grade next year. And from there, whatever he wishes to do, he's going to be ready to do it.
Great. Thank you, Olga. Lisa, is there anything you would like to add?
Well, my situation is somewhat unique. I am a parent, but I am also a teacher at the school. I've been teaching at Bond for 14 years. My whole time at Bond, I've been in Montessori. So I knew right from the beginning that this was a program I wanted to include my children in. I was lucky enough to bring them into the school when they were quite young. So my oldest daughter, who is now in high school, she started at age 3. And my younger daughter, who is now in grade 6, started when she was only 2.5. I was able to have them both with me in my classroom for their first year, which was, it was very, very valuable. Obviously, having them transition so smoothly with me there was, I wouldn't have changed a thing. They came right out of daycare and into an environment where I got to see what they were doing all day. I could see not only the activities they were doing, but just the fun that they were having. And I could see that they were safe, they were cared for, and for me, that meant everything. So I decided to keep them in Bond even after they graduated from Montessori, because the grade 1 program, the teachers there were wonderful. They could modify their program to suit not only Montessori students, but children coming from kindergarten. So they were able to modify the program to suit the needs of everyone. I had my 2 kids come out of Montessori, so they were coming from a very enriched program where they were used to being so challenged, and they needed that constant challenge. So that teacher was able to accommodate. And just all of the programs that Bond offers, the sports, the drama, the music, there's really something for everyone, and my kids have really thrived here. They love coming here every day. They love the personal attention they get from all of the teachers. It's a safe place, and it's familiar and comfortable. So it was really the best decision I've ever made, keeping them here.
Great, thank you, Lisa. Jane, you might like to add anything to that question?
Well, I can speak from two sides of my mouth. One as the administrator, but another as a grandparent who has had 5 grandchildren go through here. And as any grandmother, they're the sun and the moon and the stars to me, and I would only want them to be here if I thought it was a wonderful place. And it's a very kind, caring environment. The teachers are involved in the children, whether they teach them daily or they just work with them in activities in the school. It certainly gives you a warm feeling when you're in here. And we actually call ourselves the Bond family, which might sound hokey to some people, but that really is the feeling in this school. And I tell people that if I'm standing in the hallway with my 2 little grandsons who are in Miss Baum's class, and we're standing together, and the boys come running down the hallway, they'll say hi to me, but they'll hug Miss Baum. they love their teachers so much, and that's the feeling that you get in here. And I often have parents come to me afterwards and say, you know, Jane, when you told me that, I thought, okay, I'll see, but you're absolutely right. The feeling that I like people to come for an individual meeting here so they can see the school in operation. We don't have open houses. We have opportunities for you to visit when we're just running our day-to-day activities, and you can see that what we are is what you would get and your child would get if they would come here. And we do try and we just talk. We don't do tests or anything for the children coming in here. We don't believe in that. We believe in talking and making sure that what we can offer to a child is what you want for your child. And it's worked so very well for the last 18, 19 years, and we hope to continue with this. So seeing you here today, and I know some of you aren't going to speak. You told me that you would just be muted because you've already made arrangements for an appointment with me. But I'm looking forward to that many of you may wish to come and visit the school. And following the protocols of COVID, we can arrange that. It's you could let me know at the end of the program, but it's a very special little place. And it's wonderful that children can, if they're little, that they can start out their lives in school here. Or if they're going into high school, they can make the transition from the elementary program to the secondary program with all of our supports that we have. I'll keep talking, so you better talk.
Okay, Jane, that's good.
I'm passionate about this place.
Okay, Jane, we have an actual question from one of the clients, and they would like you to explain a bit more about the residence options for international students, not homestay, but only residence. Okay. What is the youngest grade we take in residence?
We only have residence for students who are 16 and older. And up until recently, most of the students in our residence are international students, and they mainly come from China, because we have had in the past, before the COVID issues, a lot of students who would join our school in grade 11 and come here for ESL, grade 11, grade 12, and get their Ontario diploma so they could go to Canadian and American universities. So that is the, most of our students in our residence come from that group. But we certainly have other students from other countries too, because we have international students from all over the world. But the majority at the residence are from China. Great. And they can be in single rooms, double rooms, or rooms with triple students in. And they have people there to look out for them and watch over them and assist them with their studies and things like that.
Okay, we're going to move on to another question. And this time we'll start with Lisa. What does your child have to say about the school?
My child loves school. Sometimes it's really hard to get her out of here. She would live here if she could. She loves everything about it. She's up before I am in the morning and dressed and ready to go. She's rushing me out the door. So she, even now with the new COVID protocols, they can't do exactly what they used to first thing in the morning, but at least she can be in the building. And for her, that's the best. She loves all of the activities offered here. She loves that all of the teachers know who she is and ask her how she is doing. And, you know, they really take the time to get to know her and find out what's going on. In the past, we've asked her, does she ever think about moving schools? And she will quickly answer no. I think when it comes time to graduate grade 8, it'll be a challenge to get her into the same school with her sister, but we'll cross that there when we get there. We'll cross that when we get there. So bottom line, she loves it.
Great, thank you. Olga, the same question. What would George have to say about the school?
Well, George is 15 years old, and talking right now is not what he usually does with his mother. But it's behaviors that talk a lot at that age, right? So I have a happy child that also, like Lisa, enjoys coming to school. He's up at 7 o'clock in the morning because we have to travel to come to school. Always with a smile, happy to come to school, and there is no challenge of having to coerce him or coax him out of the door. He wants to come to school, and that's really the environment that is inviting the teachers that are supportive, that allow that to happen. Especially with boys, those that have boys around the table, you know, they're a quiet bunch. They don't talk. You want to give them an environment that allows them to grow and develop their verbal skills as well. So I know George talks at school, for example. His teachers tell me that, and actually he's quite verbose at school. Obviously, the environment allows that to happen. So even though he doesn't talk to me, his behavior says that he loves it.
Wonderful, thank you. Jane, a more of a technical question. What's our total enrollment? And the second part to that, what's our teacher-student ratio?
That's a good question, especially this year. Normally, our enrollment in the elementary panel is between 180 and 200. However, this year we have limited the number of students in the classrooms. For instance, in Miss Baum's class, normally we would have 3 teachers in that room and 24 students. We had to drop it down to 15 students. So our maximum in there is 15 students and 2 teachers. In grades 1 through 8, our maximum again is 15, and we would not go over that at all. I have people on waiting lists for some of the classes because we really wanted to make sure that we could set up our classrooms according to the protocols. We normally would have a maximum of 18. So we've lost 3 in every grade. Grade 2, we have 2 classes. I signed up 17 or 18 students, and we divided it into 2, one with 8 and one with 9. So they're small classes. Our grade 1 class has, I believe, 14. When we get up to grade 8 and grade 7, we can take almost as up to 30 in each class because we divided into 2 cohorts. So our grade 8 class, we have 2 classes, and there are 14, I believe, in each class. So they still have below the 15 number that is recommended by the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health. So those are the numbers that we do. In the high school, when we went into COVID mode, the high school just immediately slipped into regular school, but online. Our classes were, it was amazing. The teachers were terrific. We ran a high school totally online. So Mr. Davies was like a principal of an online school. I was a guidance head as a online school. And that's how we did it, right from March, right through till the end of June. So this year, because of the changes and the COVID protocols, we've divided our school year into 4 terms. So we're 7/10 through the first term. So in 3 weeks, they've been taking 2 courses each, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And the extra added was that we allowed them to choose whether they were doing it online or in person. So once they made that choice, then they were set into those for the 10 weeks. So some classes you might walk by and see there's only 2 people there, but really there's another 13 at home online. And that's how we're running our high school this year. So if something happens and the Ministry of Health was going to close things down, we're ready just to roll right into a full online school again. We're hoping, of course, that won't happen, and that maybe next year at some point we'll be able to go back into a full-time all-day school. I'm not sure if that answers everything, but.
Thanks, Jane. Another question for Jane before we move back to the parents is, what is the support that you offer children transitioning from grade 8 to high school?
That's a great question. So number one, of course, is that we have the small classes. Even in a regular, normal year, our class size would be maybe 16 in high school at the most. Sometimes if it's a really popular course, like our arts course with Mr. Vonk, he's a very popular teacher, and we might stretch it up to 18 because otherwise we're having to turn students away. So we have the small classes, we have extra support after school, 4 days a week. All of our teachers in the high school are here till 4:15, and the students can just wander in and get extra help from their teacher in the classroom. And on top of that, at 4:15, they can then go into either 2 rooms that we have. One is for science and maths, and it's run by one of our math teachers, and it's extra help till 5:30. The other room is our social sciences and English room, and it's run by one of our teachers during the day, and it's open till 5:30 also. So students can get a lot of academic support that way. We also will introduce them to sports teams on a regular basis when it's running. And so they'll have an opportunity to be involved in lots of activities in the Sports Hall of Fame that we have. Or we do also have usually choirs and band, and we have theater, so they can be part of those things too, to help them become part of our program. We do a lot of one-on-one counseling when they first come in to make sure that they understand what the expectations are of working toward a diploma. Many of them aren't really sure what they have to accomplish by the end of grade 12. So we start working with them at this age in grade 9. And today happened to be our virtual university fair. We had to do it virtually because the universities couldn't come in, but we had 17 Ontario universities in here today for all the students from grade 9 to grade 12, so they could go online, listen to presentations from, I think, 12 of the universities. They could choose 12. And no other school has this. We're the only ones that run a virtual fair like this. We normally have in-person fair where they can talk to the people from the universities one-on-one. but of course we couldn't do it this year, but it ran smoothly. It was a beautiful experience today for all of our students from grade 9 to grade 12. So we start them early in grade 9, and they're aware of all the support that's here for them. We have special education for students who require any kind of extra help. That's available for them too.
Great, thank you, Jane. We're going to ask Olga another question because I know she's a little pressed for time. So Olga, how would you describe the values of the school and the values of the family in the school community?
So as I think I started with the first question, I said I looked at what the values of the school were in terms of what you articulated that you represent. So Bond states in their vision statement or their mandate statement that you're striving towards high quality education, and really if I look at the rest of the sentences that you have, to develop a well-rounded person. And I think as a parent, as multiple parents in Bond, we stay in Bond because we want our children to take advantage of those values, because those values represent success in the future. So if you look at Bond's values in terms of how they treat the students and the values that we want as parents to have our children be treated for success, then those two things match. And the outcome is a child that not only can successfully look at a university study or a college study or whatever, but in future the career that they will pursue will have foundations around a personality that has been developed that is well-rounded. Like Bond gives you access to thoughts and people and services and activities that go beyond, math and English and physics and what have you. They strive community engagement for community engagement. They look at sports as a way to have a more rounded individual, and that all contributes in a member in society coming out of the school that adds value. And I will tell you, Paul said I'm a part of the business community, and yes, I am. In my career, I look at hiring a lot of people, and I have hired hundreds of people, and the people that I hire have to be well-rounded people, not only skilled to do the job, but also diverse and positive and energetic and compassionate and understanding each other's values and culture. And that's what Bond brings. And that's one of the reasons that I came to Bond, because I wanted that diversity. I'm happy thus far. And I know I'm going to be happy until George finishes his school career at Bond.
Great, thank you, Olga. I'd like to introduce Herbert Lee. He's in charge of our international admissions. Herbert, there's a couple of questions on the international side. First question, what is the ratio of local to international students?
Hi, everyone. Sorry, first of all, I'm glad to have this chance to chat with everybody. Sorry, I have to put my mask on because I'm sitting in my office with my colleagues beside me. So, well, just in answering your question, about the ratio in our elementary school, we have very low ratio because basically we have roughly like less than 10 international students in our elementary school. So just like we have like 5% of international students in our elementary school. Whereas in our secondary, just like we have roughly 60% of international students, while almost 40% are local students.
Great. Thank you, Herbert. The next question that relates somewhat is, how do you provide ESL support to international students? And is there a minimum level of English that we ask for?
Well, according to the Ontario Ministry curriculum, we provide ESL courses to international students. First, before the students come to our school, before they register to school, we either do an online placement test, or if they can come, we can, do a physical on-site placement test. The goal is to determine the level of the international student. Then based on the placement test results, we place the student into different level ESL courses. We have 5 different levels, A, B, C, D, E. E as the highest level. So if a student has taken language tests like TOEFL and IELTS, we may take this test result into consideration when deciding, which English level, ESL level we should place the students in. So, for example, if a student has a IELTS score 6 or TOEFL, 80 points above, then they do not need to do ESL. We just place them directly into grade 11 English or grade 10 English.
Great. Thank you, Herbert. If there's any more, I can let you back in, or you can hang around if you like. The next question I have is for Lisa. The question revolves around, let me read it verbatim. With the kindergarten program, is there an overlap between the age between the CASA and kindergarten, and what transition would you provide?
So the children need to be 4 years old to enter kindergarten. So there's a junior kindergarten and there's a senior kindergarten in the same room. So that's a 2-year program. The CASA program, the children can start at age 3. It is a 3-year program. So they can start at age 3 and they would typically stay for the full 3 years and go directly into grade 1. So we don't usually have children moving from one program to the other. It is a decision that you would make as a parent before registering your child. The programs are extremely different. You would have to look into which program you think would suit your child better. Kindergarten is more play-based, and Montessori is not. So it's very structured. There are no toys in the room. It's a very different learning environment, and a parent would have to decide which environment would be better for their child. So we don't usually, in fact, I can't remember a time where we had a child move from one to the other.
Great, thank you. Now, sort of a follow-up, and again, I'm going to leave this with Lisa. Within the kindergarten and or Montessori program, the person wants to know if there's any non-English classes that are available as part of the core program. French, Mandarin, anything like that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so both kindergarten and Montessori have French classes. We have 3 classes a week for 30 minutes. Last year, I think it was last year, in years previous, we were doing a Mandarin class. We have not done that yet this year, and I'm not sure if that will be available, but in years previous, we have had Mandarin also.
Great, thank you. Now for Jane, is there a wait list for the CASA program? And if so, when should they apply?
If you're looking for this year, we actually have 2 spots in one of the CASA classes. That's it. And then for September, I would say, because there is a caveat that we can have 3-year-olds in our Casa, but only 25% of our students in the Casa can be 3. That's not our rule. That's the Ministry of Education's rule, because we are a school. We're not a daycare, we're a proper school. So children have to be 3, but only 25% of them can be 3. So if your child is just going to turn 3, the sooner that you apply, you can be sure that you'll have a spot saved for you for next September. As of now, we could take 2 more students, but then we're full until September of 2021. The other thing is, of course, that they must be toilet trained. I know when my grandsons were coming, it was iffy whether they'd get there before school started, but thank goodness for Miss Baum, they were. So that was great. Otherwise, they were going to have to be at home still. But,
All in.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said it all ended well. They're doing
Yes,
fine.
yeah, all of a sudden, Labor Day weekend worked. The other thing I wanted to say about ESL, especially in the elementary program, we do not have a lot of ESL students, but those that are ESL students, if they require some assistance in helping develop their language, we do have assistance for ESL students. So that is available for them.
Great, thanks, Jane. Another question for Jane. The school has focus on liberal arts per the Our Kids website. Does it mean that math and science are given less weightage?
Absolutely not. The reason we had to make choices when you fill out the forms for Our Kids, and I would assume that parents would understand that math and science goes without saying in an academic private school. But not all schools have the other programs that we have, because on a normal year, we have French, we have art, we have vocal music, we have instrumental music, we have drama, we have phys ed 4 times a week, and it's proper phys ed. It's curriculum based. It's not throw the ball out and try and play dodgeball. It's proper curriculum based. It could be 1 week, it could be fitness. Another week, it might be the soft skills for some sport, or basketball skills another week. So it's a proper program. The students usually wear a proper uniform, and we have change rooms and they get changed in there. This year, because of the COVID protocols, our students from grade 1 and up are wearing their phys ed outfits all day because we can't get changed. So they have to come in their shorts and their t-shirts and any other cover-ups they want to wear. So we've had to put our uniform to a side. So 4 days a week, they wear their uniform. The 5th day, which would normally be their swim day, they wear a proper uniform. But we have wonderful programs here, and it's not, as you say, it doesn't mean that the math and science suffer at all. When they get to grades 7 and 8, they have specialists who teach those subjects, as a matter of fact. So the teacher will, one teacher, he only teaches science and math to the grade 7 and 8 classes. Another teacher will only teach history and geography to those classes. We have a specialist for English for those classes. So our academic standards are second to none, but we also have the enhanced opportunities for the student to be involved in the programs that I've mentioned, plus all their activities, the clubs and things. My granddaughter, I know it sounds, she's in a meditation group. She's in the cheerleading squad, it's a very athletic, more gymnastic squad. There's teams and things. They can do cross country, basketball, volleyball, everything you can think of. And because of our program, we believe in a healthy, active lifestyle. And the head of our department really inspires the students to buy into that and to want to be involved in the activities and be on the team. So it's a great place.
Thanks, Jane. Okay, we have a really good question here, and I think we want to take it from first off the parent side, and I'll let either Olga or Lisa decide who to start this question. In recent times, were you aware of any incident, and that could be staff or student conflicts or something that happened in the school, and how was the situation handled?
Nothing that I can think of at the moment.
Okay.
No.
We'll pass it on to Jane.
Okay, I'll just say that part of our program, especially in the elementary section, is that we have character education infused into our curriculum. So the students are shown through example, through being involved in activities, how one should behave. So things like bullying and activities that you read about in the paper that are happening in local schools, we don't have those things in our schools. And I really believe is because our students would be kind of appalled to see anybody do it, because it's not the kind of behavior that goes with the character development that we're trying to encourage here at Bond. And I know in the high schools, we I can't think of anything that I could, would be that we had to worry about. But I know that if there was anything, that our principals, both Mr. Davies, who's the secondary principal, and Mr. Haley, who's the elementary principal, would be on top of it immediately. And I'll give you a little story about Mr. Haley that I've known him for 19 years. So when I came here to work with him, I said, well, what are your ideas on discipline and things like that? And he said, I was one of 5 children. I was brought up on a farm, and I learned really quickly that you never get an animal in the corner because they're going to attack. And he said, and I have honestly, and I'm sure Lisa can say the same, and probably Herbert, I've never heard John yell at a student, ever. It's just not the way we do it here. He'll talk to them, he'll talk about the incident, he'll offer, what else could you have done? How else could you have dealt with that? What negotiations you could use? But I've never heard him yell at students. It's not our way of doing it. It's not our discipline thing, the way we do things here.
I could potentially also add, as a parent, I'm not aware of any major incidents with Bond. But definitely children, as they grow up, they develop personalities. And definitely Bond provides a lot of teachings on behavior to ensure that they understand what it means to bully, or what it means not to have biases, or what it means not to respect each other. As any child, even mine, had opportunities to grow in the constructs of the school. And as a parent, you expect that to happen. Like, if you think that everything will be perfect, it won't be. You're dealing with, human beings that are developing their character, their personality. What I will say is, as a parent, I felt supported in having open, trusting discussions that involve the teachers, involve the principals, involve Jane, involve the child, me, so that we can all figure out how to support the child to further grow, to further learn. So we shouldn't be afraid of incidents occurring. They should occur at school. They should be used as learning opportunities so that these students can become the best people possible when they come out of Bond, so that when the time comes, there won't be any issues at their workplace, because they have the tools to handle it. They have the teachings and they have the supports. And that's what Bond helps achieve, with the support of their teachers, with the support of their principal, with the support of Jane. And I truly feel that I, as a parent, have partners on the other side that listen to me openly to help my son become the best he can be.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. We're lucky enough to have our secondary principal just zoom in. So Phil, the question that came up, and I think we want to get a principal's view on it as well, is, sorry, just lost it here on my screen. It's the wrong one. In recent times, were you aware of any incident, could be staff or student related or staff and student conflicts that happened in the school, and how was the situation handled?
Staff and student conflicts?
Yep.
Well, we had an incident last year where there was a student conflict. There was a student conflict. There was 5 students, unfortunately, that had bullied one student in an incident that occurred on the weekend. So it wasn't actually at school, but it occurred on the weekend. And these were students, the majority that were new to Bond. So I did a pretty intense and thorough investigation of the incident. Talked to everybody involved, any witnesses as well, and it did. And unfortunately, it did result in the removal of 2 students from our school. So there all schools do have these instances. Unfortunately, it certainly doesn't excuse it, but it is it's necessary to react in a positive but effective manner in dealing with them. I can say in 10 years, there hasn't been a lot of instances like this, thankfully. But as I said, all schools have, to a limited degree, depending on the school, there have these sort of incidents.
Great, thank you, Phil. I'm going to go into another question yet. And this would be, if Olga's still around, yes, you are, that's great. If the school were represented as a single person, what would its personality be like? And in a very short three-word description.
It was hard to find the right 3 words, Paul, but the words I think characterize Bond is supportive, knowledgeable, and positive.
Perfect. Lisa, anything to add?
I said loyal, high achiever, and fun, lots of fun.
Great. Jane, 3 words only.
Kind, caring, and genuine.
Herbert? Herbert, you're muted.
I would say fun, caring, and challenging.
Great.
Challenging.
Thank you. Phil, 3 words.
Energetic, committed, and inclusive.
That really sums it up. Okay, is there any more questions from from everybody else? I think I've answered or asked most of the questions that came through the chat window. So you can chat now, or if you like, we're about 10 minutes to 3, 7 minutes to 3. So you can unmute yourself and ask questions directly to either Jane, Lisa, Olga, if she's still here, Herbert, or Phil.
Could I just say thank you very much to Olga. I know she's going to slip away at some moment. I really appreciate your insights and your willingness to speak to all of us. Thank you, Olga.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Bond Academy is a great school, everyone. So I hope you make the right decision and join this family. And with that, I will say goodbye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Olga.
Thank you, Olga.
Thank you, Olga.
Okay, any questions from any other participant?
Paul,
Yeah, I have a
Wenzel?
question.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I have a question. My son is about grade 5 right now, and he's slightly dyslexic. Can you tell me about, if you actually accept dyslexic students and how you support them?
Do you want me to take that one? I can speak to that. We have a young lady that just came to the school this year, and we've had several discussions with mom and figuring out a process and a pathway for her. And she will be working with our teachers in the resource room in any area that she, the teacher and mom and the resource teacher feel she needs help in. So perhaps it might be her reading and language development. I would think that would be some area that she might need some assistance. And we have that available for her. It would be here, and it's all individualized. So it's not a blanket process for all children. It would be individualized for your daughter. I don't know does she have an IEP now?
It's a son, but
I'm sorry.
you know, my question is, okay, next to individual help, which is already great news, do you have any way to help them during class to kind of deal with tests, give them a bit more time, or you know, kind of do oral tests rather? I mean, he's a very intelligent boy. He just is dyslexic. So, are there any ways to compensate, if you want, that weakness with other, you know, other ways of participating?
I would suggest that we would probably be developing an IEP for him, which is an individual education plan. And in that, with your input and the teacher's input and your child's input, we would come up with a list of things that we will do to encourage where he's got his strengths and to help him in the areas where he needs assistance. And that would all be in place for your child. So if he needs extra time to write a test, or if he feels more comfortable writing the test in the resource room and having extra time, that can all be arranged for him.
Thank you. Thank you.
But
And
we don't let an issue get in the way of a child coming to the school. My daughter was born profoundly deaf, and I can tell you I've been through every kind of thing you could possibly go through in getting a child educated in Ontario. And she now has her master's degree and teaches in Durham. And it's not easy, it takes a lot of work on everybody's part, but it's possible, and we really support children here.
And for an entry into the school, if he's grade 5 right now, is grade 6 a good level to enter, or would you prefer grade 7? What's a good transition?
You can come at any time you want. Grade 5 is full this year, but grade 6, we could be having more classes, so that's an opportunity for, and there's always movement because mommy and daddy's jobs change and they move somewhere else. So there's usually 1 or 2 openings in a class, and let's hope that the class is back up to 18 next year rather than having to be cut down to 15 as they were this year. So there is opportunity, but if you want to make sure, then I would suggest that between now and Christmas holidays, you may want to come and see me and have a tour, which we do through proper protocols for the COVID. And then you could maybe make a firmer choice as to whether you would like him to come here.
Thank you.
And he could come and spend a couple of days here. Does that make sense? Okay. But you can contact me through an email if you wish, and we can set that up.
Perfect. Thank you, Jane.
Okay.
Great. Do we have any other questions from anyone that's left in the room? You can either unmute yourself or put it in the chat window. Okay, I'm not seeing anything pop up. We'll give you another minute. Lisa or Jane or Herbert or Phil, do you want to just say anything else that might not have been said?
I just would suggest that anybody who thinks they might like to see more of the school and to see us in operation, to please contact me. I prefer to have interviews one-on-one with the family in the school, so you can just see us, how we're operating. We don't put on fancy open houses for you. We suggest you come and really see who we are. And I think what we do here on a daily basis would be enough to help you make a very wise decision on where you'd like your child to be. The only class that we do have openings in at the moment is one of our Montessori classes with 2 spots in our kindergarten class. And of course, our high school classes, we start our next 10-week term, the middle of November, right, Phil? I'm not sure of the date.
I think it's the 13th, November 13th.
Around the 13th of November. So if there's a high school student who's not doing things the way they want to do, you can change into our program starting, setting up to start on the 13th of November. So anytime now would be a good idea to call me about that.
And just for the people that are left, I did put in both Jane's and Herbert's email address in the chat window. So if you need to contact them, please send them an email and they can get back to you directly. Are there any last questions by anybody else? We've reached 3 o'clock point, but we will stay on if there are still questions. Nothing's coming in the chat.
If I can then take the airtime, if nobody else takes it. My son he's bilingual. He's German native, but he's in a bilingual school today. Again, grade 5. Do you see any issues transitioning to a full English curriculum?
Because he's in is he at the German English school?
Yeah, he's in German International School, which is like 2/3 German, 1/3 English.
Yes, we've had students from that school before come to Bond. And I don't think the transitions would be any different than it might be for any child changing schools. There's always a transition time, depending on the personality of the child and their needs. But we're pretty good, pretty nice here. And parents are quite happy, and I know the students are when they come here, because our students kind of go like this, you know, and just put warm, cuddly, fuzzy arms around them and bring them into the classroom. So socially, it's never been an issue when we bring new students in. I don't think you've ever heard of that, have you, Lisa? Any social issues when new students come in? They're kind of taken in by all the students. And I often have the students come in the grades 4, 5 and up. They come and spend a couple of days here, and I'll say something, well, you'll see the kids in September. Oh no, I've got everybody's email, you know, and they've already set up a plan to be together. So I think the atmosphere in here and the way the students are, it's not as big an issue as it might be somewhere else. They're certainly not isolated by the kids. They're brought into the circle. Does that answer your question at all? And we'd have to, you know, make sure that, see how their academics are, if they need any extra help or anything. I'm talking generally now, not just your son.
Yes.
Some schools are really strong in one subject area. We pride ourselves here, and we actually teach phonics for reading, and we teach the multiplication tables, and we teach cursive writing in our school, all the things that they've got rid of in the regular elementary programs, we carry on in the private sector here. So our motto is education as it should be. And we think we fulfill that pretty well here.
Right. And just you mentioned Montessori in the earlier grades. Is that continuing up, or is that a choice, or when does it stop?
It's just in the Casa. So when Lisa mentioned earlier that in the Casa, they're 3, 4, and 5, getting ready to turn 6 and go into grade 1. That's the only Montessori we have in the school, except that our grade 1 teachers, as she mentioned, are fully aware that they're getting students in grade 1 from both kindergarten and Montessori, and they combine the process and methods that they use in the grade 1 class because they know they're getting students from both programs. The goals of both programs are the same, so that when the students go into grade 1, they're at the same area of knowledge. However, how they got there is different. But that's really the only difference.
Thank you very much for your insight.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Okay, if there's no other questions, we'll call this a day. I thank you for asking your questions, and I thank our panelists for chiming in with their answers. Again, if there's any more information that's required, please either call the school and ask for Jane or Herbert, or send them emails. Thank you very much for a great event.